The Billy Napier experiment at Florida has turned out to be a disaster. When Napier was hired, he looked like a home run type of get and seemed too good to fail, yet he has. Supposedly, Florida is planning to fire Napier as it is more of a when than an if at this point. They apparently have a booster who is willing to pay Napier's $26 million buyout and had an emergency meeting on Sunday. Napier is 12-16 since becoming Florida's head coach, and the Gators once fired a coach for going 6-7 after going to the SEC title game only a few years earlier. So, as the coaching carousel ramps up early, or so it seems, let's take a look at the possible candidates who could replace Napier at Florida. Some are crazy and unrealistic, while some are true possibilities. But before we get into this, if you enjoy college football content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, let me know who you want Florida to hire in the comment section below. Since the Florida vs Texas A&M game finished, Florida had their board of trustees meeting on Sunday morning, an emergency meeting which some think were to talk about the future of Billy Napier. Since then, the coaching carousel has really exploded, and there's been one name that has been gaining popularity according to Athlon, and that person is Urban Meyer. From a fan standpoint, Meyer's name has been brought up consistently and could be a hire that could win the press conference. Meyer found success at Florida from 2005 to 2010, winning 2 national titles with the Gators, 2 SEC championships, and 3 Eastern Division titles while head coach. He helped make Florida football cool again with quarterback Tim Tebow. The Urban Meyer teams are a reason a lot of people around the country love Florida football these days, at least in my generation. Meyer never had a losing season at Florida, went to 6 straight bowl games, and went 13-1 in 3 of his seasons. He left Florida under controversial circumstances, with Sporting News publishing an expose called How Urban Meyer Broke Florida Football. That expose suggested Meyer created a toxic culture in the locker room at Florida and departed just before the implosion. Meyer let players take control of the team and deemed the program broken when he left in 2010. Meyer spoke on the situation saying, "I love Florida. I'll always be a Gator. My motives were pure as gold when I left. We left Florida because I was dealing with health issues that I've since learned how to control." Former player Brian Thomas said the program was out of control when Urban Meyer left. Meyer would be a controversial pick for athletic director Scott Strickland, who will be looking for his 3rd coach if they decide to part ways with Napier. Meyer went on to win another national title at Ohio State, going 83-9 from 2012 to 2018. And had a failed stint with the Jacksonville Jaguars, going 2-11 in the NFL. Meyer would be available immediately, which the other names on this list may not be, due to them being in contention for the college football playoffs. He has won at Florida and is a big name hire with nostalgia to the Florida glory days, which may appease the boosters and fans. It would be a boom or bust hire, as nostalgia hires rarely ever reach the same level of success as their previous regimes. It could save Scott Strickland's job, but also could create an even bigger mess for Florida if it fails. Matt Rule is a name mentioned by ESPN and could be another interesting hire, especially if he is able to bring Dylan Raiola with him if DJ Lagway decides to transfer out. Rule has found success at the college football level anywhere he has gone. He helped rebuild the Temple program, going 28-23 in 4 seasons, but going 20-7 in his final 2 seasons, including a conference title. He then went on to rebuild Baylor following their sexual assault scandal that saw Art Briles get fired. After a major roster turnover in his first season at Baylor, the Bears went 1-11, having their worst season since 1969. In year 2, they went 7-6 and won the Texas Bowl, and in 2019 they finished year 11-3 and lost in the Sugar Bowl. Rule got Baylor rolling before deciding to take the Carolina Panthers head coaching job. He returned to the college game last year, taking over for a Nebraska program that was in a similar state to Florida, just trying to get back to the glory days. Rule went 5-7 last year, but has Nebraska ranked this year with a 3-0 start, led by freshman phenom Dylan Raiola. Florida offers Rule more resources and more fertile recruiting grounds than Nebraska does. But does Rule want to leave? He seems to be building something special in Lincoln and could have Nebraska in the playoff race as the season goes on. He may not be ready to leave, or he may not even want to leave. It would be a big name hire by a coach who knows how to build a program, though. James Franklin is always rumored to be leaving Penn State when these big jobs open up, and usually gets a salary increase when these things happen. Franklin found success at Vanderbilt, so he has SEC experience. Franklin has, on average, had Penn State ranked in the top 10 since becoming head coach, and has had on average the 15th best recruiting class nationally. He ranks 3rd among active head coaches when it comes to 10-win seasons over the last decade, but has struggled in big games against Michigan and Ohio State, going 4-16 against those 2 schools. Franklin is currently 90-39 at Penn State, and won the 2016 Big Ten title. He has one losing season, 2020, and with the Nittany Lions, he has built a clean, winning program ranking top 5 in NFL draft picks over his tenure. Will he leave? Probably not, as he has previously been mentioned for big jobs like this in the past, and should have the Nittany Lions in college football playoff contention by the time Florida wants to have the new head coach in place. But it is a name to keep an eye on. Matt Campbell is also another name always linked to a big job like this when it opens up, but for some reason or another, continues to remain at Iowa State. Many thought he would be a top candidate for the Notre Dame job a few years back, or USC, but instead those jobs went to Marcus Freeman and Lincoln Riley respectively. I don't know if Campbell was ever offered those jobs or not, but like I said, he is always seemingly linked to these big jobs. Campbell has turned Iowa State into a consistent winner over the years. While he has never won more than 10 games in a season, he is a coach that turned a one-doormat program in the Big 12 into a team that competes for the conference title every year. In 2020, he led Iowa State to the Fiesta Bowl in a 9-3 record, and could have them fighting for the conference title come the end of the season. He currently has a 55-48 record as the Cyclones head coach, and went 35-15 at Toledo. He is someone that has always done more with less, but I feel like if he ends up Florida's next head coach, a lot of fans will be a little disappointed. Alex Golesh made a name for himself as the offense coordinator at UCF in Tennessee under Josh Heupel, who has Tennessee playing their best football right now. Golesh runs an extremely fast spread offense and has given Alabama a run for their money the last 2 years, leaving many Bama fans hoping they never have to see USF on their schedule again. Golesh is only 40 years old, but has never been a head coach of a Power 5 team. He knows how to recruit the state of Florida and help the Bulls become bowl eligible for the first time since 2018 last year. He led USF to a dismantling of Syracuse in their bowl game 45-0, to finish the year 7-6, capping off the second best turnaround for a college football program last year. He's only 40 years old, and if he stays at USF, many feel he could turn them into a Group of 5 powerhouse. He also has coaching experience in Central Florida as well, meaning he is very well versed in recruiting the state of Florida. Golesh being a Group of 5 coach may worry a lot of fans due to the failure Billy Napier has been. And Billy Napier was also known as a great recruiter, but unlike Napier, Golesh has the experience of coaching in the SEC, so he knows what needs to be done. He may not be the hire that wins the press conference, but could end up being an amazing hire in the long run. USF may be in play for the Group of 5 playoff bid. With another loss, he could become available sooner rather than later. Jedd Fisch is a Florida alum who worked as a grad assistant under Steve Spurrier. Before taking the Washington job, he helped turn around the Arizona football program, which was in a disastrous place when he arrived. He left a quarterback at Arizona who could compete for the Heisman this year if he rebounds from the Kansas State game for Washington. Fisch led Arizona to a 10-3 record last year, although he went 16-21 in 3 seasons there. Like I said, it was a massive rebuild. He knows how to build the trenches and get an offense going just like he did with the 2023 Arizona team. He has coached at 16 different schools in his 23-year coaching career, never spending more than 3 seasons at a school. His alma mater comes calling, I expect him to answer the phone call. While researching this video, Fisch is a guy I believe most likely to get the job, especially if Washington's season does not go very well, like most people expect with the rebuilding that needs to be done. He probably won't have the Huskies in college football playoff contention. Should that hurt him and keep him from getting the job? I think his resume of recruiting Arizona and Southern California, Arizona, should give him the resources, and in a year or 2, he can be cooking. He also served as an offense coordinator at Miami, so he could recruit the state of Florida. Eli Drinkwitz is 14-2 since last season and has Missouri rolling after being on the hot seat not so long ago. He has the Tigers ranked in the top 10 right now and looks to be building something special down in Columbia, Missouri. He has made quality hires for assistant roles, continually gotten more out of the transfer portal than he loses to it, and has expanded his recruiting reach from mostly closing the state's borders to poaching some serious talent out from beneath the noses of more established Big Ten and SEC powers. He has also helped build one of the better NIL programs in all of college football. But if Florida comes calling, will he go? I don't think so. Missouri has built its program up around Drink, giving him new practice facilities, upping his salary to over $9 million, and the university plans to continue to elevate the program if they continue to get better. I think Drink would be crazy to leave Missouri for a place that is drowning post-hurricane, will have high expectations for their next head coach almost immediately. Michigan tried to get Gary Pinkel back in the day, and he chose to turn it down to stay at Missouri. I would not hold my breath, Florida fans, that you will have Eli Drinkwitz on your sideline next year. Lane Kiffin seems to be the dream hire for Florida fans, and I wanted to save him for last on this video. Kiffin has Ole Miss rolling so well that Wake Forest decided to pay them over $1 million not to play them next year. The Rebels are loaded and seem like a serious national title contender this year, and Kiffin has mastered the transfer portal to a T. While Florida may be a better job in the long run, I do not understand why Kiffin would leave a program he has built up and is hitting its stride at the moment to go to a rival school in the same conference. It is also likely that Ole Miss will be going on a college football playoff run, which complicates things even more for Florida as he won't be leaving a school competing for a national title to go get a head start on the rebuild. Florida, as a neutral party, I don't see Lane Kiffin going to Florida and leaving Ole Miss. But I've been wrong before. I didn't think Kalen DeBoer would leave Washington for Alabama, and Lincoln Riley shocked the world when he left for USC. Anything can happen in college football. Those are a handful of candidates I think could end up as Florida's next head coach if they decide to fire Billy Napier. I think if I had to guess the top 3, I could see taking the job are Jedd Fisch, Alex Golesh, and Urban Meyer. But what do you think? Who does Florida hire as their next head coach? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out one of my other videos YouTube thinks you will love right here. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, remember to embrace the grind.